Act 1. The setup. The cube of ice. You know that feeling when you walk into a room and you realize immediately that you're the joke? That you're the one everyone's waiting to watch fail? That was me. 9 o'clock on a Tuesday morning, deep inside the classified briefing bunker at Base Kodiak. This windowless concrete cube where decisions were made that could redraw the map. 15 of the military's sharpest minds were seated around the table. Every man there a living legend, a decorated hero. And then there was me, standing by the back wall with a gray clipboard. The question hung in the air like a poorly diffused bomb. "What's your rank again, ma'am?" The administrative assistant? It came from Major Dane Carver. He was 38, built like a fire hydrant, and wore his ribbons like a suit of armor. Carver had that casual, self-assured arrogance of a man who'd never once been told no by someone he thought mattered. When he dropped that line, the tension broke. Lieutenant Vance snorted, Commander Hayes cracked up, and suddenly the room was echoing with laughter that bounced off the reinforced walls. I didn't flinch. I didn't blush. I just held that clipboard against my simple navy blazer, my face as still as a frozen lake before dawn. To them, I was just a contractor, an outsider they'd brought in to handle the logistics reports, paperwork. They were hunting for that nervous smile, that flicker of embarrassment that would confirm their assumptions, that I was just a civilian who didn't belong. I didn't give it to them. General Thorne, the man running the show, sat at the head of the table. He just watched, a silent participant in the humiliation, his jaw tight. His eyes told the story. He'd already judged me, already decided I was a waste of perfectly good oxygen. Carver leaned back in his chair, basking in the approval, soaking up the nods like a comedian owning the club. When he had his fill, he turned back to me, his voice dripping with mock sincerity. "Seriously though, we appreciate the admin support, but maybe you'd be more comfortable grabbing us coffee while the adults talk strategy. We're discussing a high-risk SAR op." More laughter, sharper this time. Captain Knox actually slapped the table. The sound cut through the noise like a starter pistol. I didn't move. Inhale for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 4. That's the combat breathing pattern. It's what you drill until it becomes automatic, until your hands don't shake when the pressure hits. They didn't see the technique. They just saw a woman frozen by awkwardness. They didn't see the mind working behind the eyes, the muscle memory firing, the control holding everything together. I placed the clipboard down, tapped my dark tablet to wake it up. 3 taps, swipe left. 2 more taps. The movements were precise, economical, like typing a password in the dark. On the massive tactical display at the front of the room, a red progress bar flashed into existence for exactly 0.3 seconds. It was so fast, you'd miss it if you blinked. It read, "System authentication required." Then it vanished, back to the satellite feed. I looked up. My eyes met Carver's for exactly 2 seconds. No anger, no challenge, just a calmness that comes from knowing something the other person doesn't. Then I looked back down. Carver, of course, wasn't finished. Men like that measure their value by the number of people they can make laugh at someone else's expense. "I mean, don't get me wrong," he continued, still smiling. "We need people like you. Someone's got to handle the paperwork while we handle the real work. But maybe next time they send someone who actually understands tactics. We're discussing a high-risk SAR op." More laughter, sharper this time. Captain Knox actually slapped the table. The sound cut through the noise like a starter pistol. I didn't move. Inhale for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 4. The setup was complete. Act 2. The breach. Tiers of classification. Carver finally finished his presentation. General Thorne was about to move on when Ramos cleared his throat. "Sir, if I may, quick tech note." "Go ahead, Chief." Ramos pointed to his screen. "We have a minor anomaly in the access logs. Someone in this room is connected to a server I don't recognize. Encrypted handshake. But the authorization code, it's old. Real old. Cold War era old." The air crystallized. Unauthorized access was a career killer. Every eye in the room swiveled to me, the outsider, the one with the tablet connected to the room's Wi-Fi. "Chief." Carver said, slowly, his humor gone. Where is that signal coming from? Ramos checked. Double-checked. He looked confused. According to this, the back table. I was still typing. Inhale for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 4. My screen updated. Authentication sequence, 2 of 4 inputs complete. Carver stood up. His face was thunderous. Miss Shaw, what exactly are you doing on that device? Major? Taking notes for the logistics report. The chief just said you're accessing an encrypted server. Show me your screen. That's an order. I looked at him, then to General Thornton. Sir, with respect, my work is covered under contractor confidentiality agreements. I'd need written authorization to share my screen with personnel outside my reporting chain. What I just did, politely and calmly, was refuse a direct order from a superior officer, except technically, I didn't. I was a civilian contractor, and Carver wasn't in my chain of command. I had just driven a truck through a bureaucratic loophole. His face went crimson. General, permission to have her device secured until we can verify. Granted. General Thorne looked annoyed. Chief, lock her tablet out of the network. Ramos typed the command, hit execute. He tried again. Nothing. He looked at his monitor, confused and frustrated. Sir, her device isn't responding to network admin commands. It's like it's firewalled at a level above my access. Her authorization code is reading as Tier 1 clearance. The audience burst into murmurs. Tier 1 clearance meant strategic intelligence. It meant black ops. It meant whoever held it outranked everyone in that room, General Thorne included. And it certainly didn't belong to a woman holding a clipboard. General Thorne held up a hand, silencing Carver. He turned to me, his voice measured, controlled. Ms. Shaw, are you claiming Tier 1 clearance? I'm not claiming anything, sir. My clearance level is documented in my file. Your file says you're a logistics contractor. Yes, sir. Contractors don't usually have Tier 1 clearance. No, sir. They usually don't. That word, usually, hung in the air like a taunt. Thorne ordered his aide to pull my full jacket, not the summary. 30 seconds later, the aide's face went white. Sir, the file is restricted. I don't have access. It's tagged with the SCIF level restriction. Thorne's annoyance dissolved into genuine concern. He ordered a secure line to the Director of Strategic Intelligence. Carver, unwilling to relinquish his authority, took a step toward me. I don't care what your file says. You are not cleared for this briefing. General, I formally request she be escorted out now. Thorne waited for the secure line. My screen updated. Authentication sequence. 3 of 4 inputs complete. Thorne took the phone. Admiral Thorne? The voice on the other end was clipped, male, and weighed down by years of impossible decisions. Admiral Thorne, I understand you have a question about one of my personnel. Sir, we have a contractor in our war room who claims she doesn't claim anything, Admiral. She doesn't need to. Her clearance is legitimate and significantly above your pay grade. If she's in your war room, it's because I put her there. Thorne's jaw worked silently. Sir, with respect, I was given no advance notice of... Because advance notice would defeat the purpose of the audit, Admiral. Project Echo is not hypothetical. It has never been hypothetical. If it's activating in your facility, I strongly suggest you let it run its course. Director out. Thorne looked at me, really saw me for the first time. Ms. Shaw, what is Project Echo? I'm not authorized to brief on that protocol. Not yet. Carver had crossed the room. Knox was flanking me, blocking my exit. The classic intimidation tactic. Surround the target. I asked you a question. He hissed slowly. What is Project Echo? Let me see what you're working on. He lunged for the tablet. It was the wrong move. My hand came up in a smooth professional arc, not a strike, but a precise wrist turn that redirected his momentum and sent him stumbling half a step to the side. The tablet was pressed to my chest. 3 feet of distance appeared instantly between us. Carver stared at his empty hand. Did you just put your hands on me? I protected classified property, Major, as required by my security clearance. I redirected your unauthorized attempt to access a secured device. There's a difference. I want her removed now, Carver roared. Belay that order, Lieutenant. Thorne's voice was the loudest sound in the room. He didn't understand what was happening, but 30 years of service had taught him when to trust the chain of command. Commander Carver, you are one word away from insubordination. Sit down. Carver returned to his seat, eyes glued to me, pride warring with survival instinct. I looked around the room, at Carver, whose face was still red with humiliation, at Hayes, who shared the mocking photo, at Knox, who blocked my path, at every man who laughed when I was called the administrative assistant. And I tapped yes. The emergency lights kicked on, bathing the room in crimson. My tablet screen glowed bright red, illuminating my face. The screen read, Orders classified red, internal activation confirmed, authorization level, founder. Through the ceiling speakers, the
Act
computerized
3,
voice began
the
to speak.
architect. Accountability is born. The silence was deafening. Carver lunged for the main door handle, pulling hard, muscles straining against steel that wouldn't budge. Chief, override the locks, now. Ramos's fingers flew across his keyboard. Access denied. Insufficient clearance. His screen flashed red. Chief Warrant Officer Marcus Ramos, your credentials have been temporarily suspended. You are now operating under SID observation. Do not attempt further override commands. Thorne picked up the conference phone. Dead silence. He looked at me, his voice tight. Commander Shaw, I'm ordering you to deactivate this. I can't do that, General. Project Echo doesn't deactivate until it completes its audit cycle. That's by design. Carver, Hayes, and Knox advanced on me in a coordinated combat stance. I don't care what protocol you think you're running, Carver snarled. You've sealed the classified room. That's 6 different felonies, and I'm done playing games. He reached for my tablet again. I moved instantly. It was a 45-degree pivot, redirecting his momentum. My right hand guided his extended arm down in a perfectly executed wrist lock. Controlled, minimal force. I held him there for 1 full second, then released and stepped back, putting the heavy table between us. I protected classified equipment using minimal necessary force, Major. That's within my legal authority. If you'd like to file a complaint, you're welcome to do so once the audit concludes. Thorne stopped the escalation. Everyone return to your seats. Now. The computer voice returned. Phase 1 complete, behavioral baseline established, initiating Phase 2, identity verification and clearance authentication. The screens flickered back to life. Instead of maps, they showed my profile. The room went silent again. The file was different now, classified at a level Thorne had only seen twice in his career. The picture showed me in a different uniform, an emblem partially redacted, the seal of the Strategic Intelligence Directorate. Below the photo, the text populated. Name, Shaw Eliza Marie. Rank, Commander, 05. Clearance, Tier 1 Omega Access. Current assignment, Project Echo Protocol Architect and Principal Investigator, commissioned 2018. Project role, Founder, Operation Project Echo. Carver stared at the screen like it had just told him gravity was optional. That's not possible. Project Echo was developed in the 1960s. It was proposed in the 60s, Major, I corrected, still standing at the back. It was never funded. The technology didn't exist. 7 years ago, I pitched it to the National Security Council. They approved it with one condition. I be removed from the official database to prevent external compromise. For 7 years, I've been moving through military installations as a civilian contractor, watching how people behave when they think no one important is watching them. I adjusted my sleeve. This time I didn't hide it. I peeled the tape back fully, revealing the tattoo on my inner wrist. It was an intricate geometric pattern, and at the center, RV Architect 01. Ramos, the chief, actually snapped to attention. That's founder-level designation, Commander. That ink is issued to maybe 5 people in the entire intelligence community. 4, Chief. I'm one of them. This wasn't an investigation, gentlemen. It was an audit. Investigations start with suspicion. Audits start with data. The screens around the room changed once more, showing a cascade of photos, chat logs, and security camera footage, 6 months of documented behavioral data. One screen showed Carver in the gym, 3 months ago, berating a junior sailor as worthless for failing a pull-up. Another showed Hayes sharing my photo on Signal. A third showed Captain Knox in his office, discussing classified operational details with a defense contractor whose logo was clearly visible. Project Echo wasn't built to catch traitors through interrogation, Major. It was built to measure who would abuse power when they thought no one was watching. I wore the administrative assistant disguise because arrogance only reveals itself to those it believes beneath it. You didn't fail a test, you failed your own character. I tapped the tablet one last time. The main screen displayed a thick, auto-scrolling document, Behavioral Analysis and Security Risk Assessment. Commander Carver, you've been flagged as a security risk for 4 months. I needed to be sure. I needed documented evidence of psychological instability under pressure. So I let you laugh. I let you mock. And you gave me everything I needed. The text scrolled to page 12. Unauthorized disclosure of classified tactical information to non-cleared personnel. It showed transcripts, call logs, and bank transfers from a maritime security contractor to an offshore account in Carver's name. 2 people in dark suits stepped in. Federal agents. Commander Dane Carver, you are under arrest for unauthorized disclosure of classified information and violation of the Espionage Act. You have the right to remain silent. Carver sat there, bone white. As they cuffed him, he stopped and looked at me. He opened his mouth, maybe to apologize, maybe to curse, but no words came out. The agents closed the door with a chilling finality. Thorne ran his hand over his face. He looked a decade older. How many others in this room? Only Commander Carver for federal charges, but Commander Hayes, Captain Knox, and Lieutenant Vance are flagged for mandatory ethics review. They didn't commit crimes, but they demonstrated behavioral patterns consistent with systemic bullying and abuse of authority. They will be temporarily reassigned. Their phones immediately buzzed with messages from their commanding officer. Report to my office immediately. Bring your phone and all personal electronics. Thorne looked at me, then slowly steadied attention. He rendered a perfect military salute. Commander Shaw, I apologize for failing to recognize operational security when it stood in front of me. I apologize for allowing an environment where someone of your expertise and rank felt compelled to operate undercover just to do your job. I acknowledged his salute with a respectful nod. Apology accepted, General, but I need documented commitment to change. He turned to the remaining officers, his voice hard. Gentlemen, you are looking at the future. Commander Shaw didn't just expose one bad actor, she exposed us all. Every time we laughed at someone we thought was beneath us, every time we protected our ego instead of our integrity, that ends today. I turned to gather my materials. Chief Ramos didn't block my path. For a second, I thought he was going to challenge me. Then he snapped to attention and saluted. Ma'am, thank you for reminding us what integrity looks like. I returned his salute. Thank you, Chief, for being the one person in this room who saw something wrong and didn't just ignore it. Petty Officer Hayes, the young one who hadn't laughed, also saluted. Ma'am, for what it's worth, I never thought you were just a contractor. I gave him the first genuine smile of the day. I know, Hayes. That's why Project Echo flagged you as command material. You will be receiving transfer orders next week. Congratulations on your promotion. Hayes blinked. I what? Project Echo doesn't just identify problems, Petty Officer. It identifies solutions. People with integrity, people who do the right thing even when it costs them socially, that's noted in your file. I stepped into the hallway. The 2 Marines at the security checkpoint nodded respectfully as I passed. I reached my vehicle, an old, battered pickup truck that smelled like coffee and old leather, and climbed in. I tossed the tablet on the passenger seat and sat there, hands on the steering wheel, breathing in that familiar 444 pattern. I opened a secure app. The screen displayed a world map. 17 installations were marked with red dots. Kodiak was now green. 16 remained red. I typed a message to the recipient, Tower 4. Kodiak complete, subject Carver in federal custody, systemic remediation underway, General Thorne cooperative, request authorization for Bravo site activation. 30 seconds later, the response appeared. Authorization granted. Bravo site, Fort Riker. Scheduled for activation 0800 Monday. New cover identity. Supply chain auditor. Well done, architect. I drove off base Kodiak and onto the highway that led south. Architect 1, this is Tower 4. Phase 2 is greenlit. Riker activation sequence begins in 72 hours. Your new cover, your new test. Acknowledge Tower 4, beginning transit. I was thinking about the question I'd asked myself years ago. What if you're the compromised one? What if your ego is the problem? I meant it when I said the system would expose me too. But now, driving alone with 16 more installations to audit, 16 more war rooms full of officers to test, I wondered if I was starting to enjoy it. The reveal, the look on their faces when they realized they were never in control. Is that ego? Is that the beginning of the same corruption I'm hunting? I didn't know, but Project Echo was watching me too. And if I crossed that line, if I started abusing the power I had, the system would flag me, document me, and remove me. That's the design. I have 16 more chances to find out. The highway stretched ahead under a sky going dark. And somewhere in that darkness, Tower 4 was watching. Call to action. Look, we all know people like Major Carver. We've all been in that room, standing by the back wall while someone else is using their authority to tear someone down. Have you ever been on the receiving end of that kind of professional cruelty? Have you ever witnessed that kind of casual arrogance in a position of power? How do you fight it when you're just the coffee officer? Drop a comment below. I want to know your stories. What happened when the arrogant finally met their accountability? Let us know what you think about Commander Shaw's mission. Was her use of deception justified for the sake of integrity? Or does using deception, even for good, make her just as compromised as the men she caught? And if you want to see what happens when the global audit hits Fort Riker next week, hit that subscribe button. Don't miss Phase 2.